So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video where today we're gonna take a quick look at the Incarnon version of Stalker's Despair. You can get the adapter for the Despair from the Steel Path version of the Circuit game mode. Once you have the adapter and the Despair of course, you can take them over to Cavallero in the Chrysolith to combine them, but this will require some extra resources. You will also need 20 Pathos Clamp, which comes from the Autoworm boss fight, 17 Yeo Shrub, which is a plant that grows in the snowy section of the Paradox, and 60 Silpcelia, which grows all over the hills in the Paradox. This will unlock the weapon's Incarnon mode. You can charge the Incarnon meter by headshotting enemies, and once you have any level of charge, you can press the secondary fire button to activate it. In this mode, the weapon has considerably better stats, and it throws out a bunch of knives that will detonate after 0.5 seconds. It feels somewhat akin to having concealed explosives on the Despair, but there's a little bit of delay, and unlike concealed explosives, it actually does good damage. So all in all, a pretty good Incarnon mode. Now, before you can fully take advantage of the Incarnon Genesis on the Despair, you're gonna have to do a few things with it to evolve it. Firstly, you have to do a solo mission with the Despair, then you have to kill 100 enemies with its Incarnon mode, and finally you have to kill 40 enemies that are within 10 meters of you. The evolution choices you get are pretty cool. The first one has you choose between Fatal Affliction, which increases the weapon's base damage and then increases your direct damage per status type affecting the target, and Stalker's Vendetta, which increases the weapon's base damage once again, but if you also have the Dread and Hate equipped, Multi-Shot will consume ammo directly from your spare ammo, and it will increase your damage by 100% and your Multi-Shot by 30%. Your second choice is going to be more of a utility one, so we have Marksman Focus for negative zoom, followed by Swift Deliverance for 50% projectile speed, and Rapid Reinforcements for 100% reload speed. And last but definitely not least, we have a choice between Elemental Balance for 24% status, Survivor's Edge for 12% crit and status, and Critical Parallel for 18% crit and 0.4 times extra crit damage. I personally went for a combination of Fatal Affliction for the Condition Overload effect and the extra base damage, Swift Deliverance for the extra projectile speed which makes the weapon feel really good, and finally I went for Critical Parallel for the extra crit. For the build, I ended up going with the setup that favors Vyro and Heat, so we have Galvanized Diffusion and Lethal Torrent for multi-shot, Galvanized Shot for status chance and extra Condition Overload effect, Creeping Bullseye and Prime Target Tracker for crit, Prime Heated Charge for heat, and then Pistol Pestilence and Frostbite for Vyro and status. And of course, I'm running Secondary Merciless for the extra damage. One thing I really like about the Despair is that you build the Incarnon mode very fast, and you have 20 charges in it as well, so you can mostly just sit in Incarnon mode. You don't have to be outside of it for too long. Which is a good thing, because the Incarnon mode is very strong. It has great AoE, and the single target isn't too shabby either. I am actually a big fan of the Concealed Explosives mod for throwing weapons. I think it's really cool, but unfortunately it doesn't scale with anything. So once the enemies get too beefy, there's nothing you can do. So it should come as no surprise that I actually really like this weapon, because it essentially adds concealed explosives to the Despair, but unlike the normal mod, this scales well enough to where you can take it into Steel Path and have fun with it. Now that's not to say that it's perfect, because the single target is a bit wonky, but all in all, for baseline Steel Path, it does more than enough. So I would actually recommend this. It's very fun. I wouldn't prioritize it over something like the Boltor, for example, but I do think you should pick it up at some point. And that is pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you'd like to support the channel, you can check out the memberships down below, pluggo, etc. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.